friends, good morning and welcome to the Coffee Run Live groundbreaking episode today, episode 450. I hope that you are all doing really fantastically awesome and ridiculously amazing on this very, very fine Thursday. So what I thought that I would talk to you about today is an experience, hey Sandy, that has happened to me, and it always happens, and I forget the power and the magic of it, and it's just really kind of funny. So I believe in magic. I believe in like the quantum. I believe in universe, source, God, whatever word it is that you want to, whatever it is that you want to use. I believe in manifestation. And there's been, for a really long time, like my husband, who, bless his cotton socks, it can be really so intuitive and so kind of tapped in without even trying, and it makes me really kind of angry at different times. I'm like, how did you do that? How did you get that? Where did this idea come from? How do you predict the future in the way that you do? And he's just like, oh, you're telling me that I'm really powerful. And I'm like, yes, you're powerful, and it's really annoying, and I love you, and you're amazing. But what I guess for me, part of what I will kind of think about at various different times is that, I get a bit almost like, hey, Maria, I kind of almost get a little bit, I don't know, sad. I get a little bit despondent. I can be a little bit like, well, I know that everything's always working out for me, but sometimes I just need the freaking evidence, right? So I was journaling the other day, and I was like, all right, so do I actually believe? And I was having this whole big conversation, actually in my journal this particular time, I was having this big conversation with God. And that might sound a little weird, because I'm not always a God person. I'm often universe, source, higher self, whatever. And having this conversation in my journal with God, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I feel like a whiny bitch. And the kind of the response that came up in there was like, well, if you're feeling like a whiny bitch, maybe you're being one. I'm like, wow. So it had this kind of this big whole thing in there, and I started asking, myself some different questions, and I'm just like, do I really believe in magic? Do I really believe in manifestation? Do I really believe in quantum physics? Do I really believe that thoughts become things? Do I really believe in intuition? Do I really believe that we all have the answers within? And I was like, yes, I do. Abso-freaking-lutely I do. Hands down, every day. But sometimes for me, it can feel almost like it's a little bit robotic, for want of a better word. There are some things that I'll do, and I wrote about this yesterday. There are some things that I will do just because I feel like I should do them, and that I have to do them, versus sometimes what feels really aligned. And so this particular day, I was having this big frustration, session in my journal, letting it all out, as I do. And I was like, what is there something that I'm missing here? What's going on? And I thought, well, actually wrote in there, I'm like, well, you know what? If I really, really believe in the quantum, if I really believe in magic, then I need a sign, pretty much. So in my journaling, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to do a soul experiment. So in this soul experiment, I was like, okay, so, I'm going to put this out, but who said I have to even publish it? There's this whole, there's a whole concept around, I guess, and I put rules around this. There's a whole concept around feeling like you have to do something. And I do wholeheartedly believe that you have to take action, right? In order to create what it is that you want. If you can be really hungry and you can sit in a closed room without a fridge, you know, for as long as you want with no one else in the house and be like, I'm so hungry, I'm going to manifest some food. You know, the action is getting up, going to the fridge and getting something out of the fridge, right? Or out of the oven, or putting it into the oven. And so I believe in action, and I also believe in aligned action. So, you know, one of the things that I was thinking about were the times in my life where I've just been like, I need a fucking sign that I'm making the right choices and that I'm making the right decisions. Even though I've usually got faith in that, you know, and I wrote about faith versus belief last week as well. And it's like, you know what, I've always got faith that everything is always working out for me. I don't always believe it. You know, sometimes the evidence isn't always there, but I've got absolute faith that it will work. And I guess, you know, I think about the times where I've really asked for signs. And one of them was in 2010. 2010. And I was still working for corporate, and I was building this business, my second online business essentially. And I was building this up and working really hard, like 1 foot in corporate, 1 foot in this. And you guys know how much time and energy it takes to build a business. It's a lot. And so I'd had like kind of like straddling this one world and then the other world, and trying to be all things to all people, as well as trying to be a mother and a wife and a daughter and a sister and, you know, all of these other things. And it became a lot, too much. And so I remember driving my children to daycare and school at the time, and I was on my way to work. So I dropped them all off and I'm on my way to work, and it just like, it was this bubbling inside, and this bubbling is something that you can't manufacture, right? This feeling is not, to me, it's not something that you can manufacture. It was just like this pure kind of like bubble, 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 bubble. And then it felt like a volcano, and I'm gripping this steering wheel, and I'm just like, I need a sign. I was screaming out, like, I need a fucking sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because, you know, I'm pretty much done. I was done with straddling corporate world and business world and parenting and everything. Like, I needed something to give, because otherwise it was going to be my health and my mental state. So the sign that particular day, like, I've walked into the office and my boss told me that my career break had been declined. So I was like, okay, what are you going to do, Nick? That's a pretty big fucking sign. Are you going to stay working and doing this, or are you going to leave? And the very next day I resigned from my very long 12-year career in corporate banking. And, that was a really pivotal moment. You know, I've heard people talk about lines in the sand and these internal shifts that people have had, and you know, asking for signs and stuff like that. And I think that there's kind of like, if you're sitting here and if you're like kind of happy and you're like, okay, I really need a sign, you know, I don't know, to me it almost like doesn't have the same power behind it if you're just kind of like going like, okay, you know, I need a sign, versus really like feeling it, and not from a place of desperation, but it's almost from that place of like undisguised need to kind of go, you know, it to me it's like it's like handing over your power, and that's not what I mean, but it almost feels like handing over your power to God, universe, source, whatever, and just saying, hey, Bonnie, and saying, you know what, I need some freaking help. You know what, you've got to do your part. And I remember listening to a very, like, I love listening to Elizabeth Gilbert. I was listening to an Elizabeth Gilbert interview, and where she was talking, I think with Russell Brand, a reasonably recent interview, and she was talking about the process of writing a book, and about how, I think it was in this interview, if it wasn't this interview, it might have been in her TED Talk. I can't remember which one, but it's Elizabeth Gilbert regardless. And one of the things that she was saying in there is like, you know, she can write this book. It might have been Russell Brand, because she was talking about developing one of the characters in her novel. And, you know, she's done the writing, and one of the characters was a little bit not fully as developed as some of the other characters. And she's like, this is as good as I can get it. you know, she'd given the manuscript to some of her trusted friends to read. And even they'd made comment about this particular character. And she's like, well, like, this is the best that I can do. And some of the things that she was explaining is that she'll say to God or universe, source, whatever, her high self, she was saying, you know, if you want this to be better, then you need to help me out here. You know, and I think that like those, to me, it almost feels like a watershed moment where you can't really, I don't think you can kind of conjure up that feeling within you where it's like, you know, there's got to be something fucking better than this. Like, I really need some fucking help here. And it's like throwing a tantrum doesn't help. And I think that for me, it's like when I think about these times where I'm like, okay, I need a sign. And it just gets to that point where it's like, you know what, God, universe, source, whatever, you know, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, then you've got to do your part, because I am showing up. I am doing everything that I can possibly do in my power. If there's something else that you feel like I should be doing, then, you know, make it known to me so that I can fucking do it. And, you know, then we're good. But I think that this is where journaling can become really, really powerful, or praying, or whatever it is that you want. And where I've been reminded of this just this week, as I was sharing with you, you know, I was journaling. I'm like, you know what? If I really believe in all of this, then, you know, here's just an experiment. And the experiment was that I'm just going to put out this piece of writing, which I didn't have written yet. But it's like, I'm going to put out this piece of writing and it's going to be like this. And in my head, I'd had all of these rules around how I have to write, how frequently I have to write, how many words this piece of writing needs to be, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to trust that whatever it is that I write it's going to land on the people, for the people that really need to hear it. And I wrote a bit about the goopy goo, like sitting in the goopy goo of transformation, and how like we've got this push and pull, tug of war almost with who we want to become and where we want to be. And then we've got this, like I talked about this in the live yesterday, where we've got this, where we can sit in almost purgatory, where there's like the pull and the whatever, but if you're not making a decision, then to me there's like living in hell. And then you've got like the pull almost of the familiar and of the old, and you know, it's almost like the grass is greener to go backwards. And you've also got that pull and that draw towards where it is that you want to be. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go put this out. It doesn't feel like it's a really deep, profound blog, like, you know, what some of them that I might write would be. And it's like, I'm just going to go and do it. And the people that it's going to land on will land. So I put it out there. I did the live yesterday, and I was like, you know, pretty much it was like, if this is the soul experiment. Hey, Kellyanne, like this is the soul experiment. And, you know, I wonder what's going to happen, right? So I didn't put any caveats on it. I didn't put any parameters around what the sign, how it would show up, or when. It was just like, I'm just going to treat this as an experiment. And I think we forget to experiment these days, incidentally. I think we've got to get a lot better at that, because everybody wants certainty, right? We want to know, all right, I'm going to go and do this experiment, and this is the result that I'm expecting. And I think we've got to get better at, you know, eliminating some of that. But anyway, so I put the blog out. I did the live stream yesterday, and there was, I was just kind of like, okay, it's done. It's out there. It's like, it's. I assume that it's going out there and doing its thing. I had a message yesterday, a voice message from a woman who said, I was praying, like this is literally what she said. She said, I was praying to God for some help. And then there was a comment made that with the exact words that I used yesterday, not by me, but by somebody else. And then my words showed up in her eyeballs, being like the goopy goo. And she's like, I was praying to God for someone to help me. And then these words came out of this other person. And then your words were shown to me. And it's like, you were the answer to my prayers. And I've just gone like, wow, that's really huge. And I think that for me, regardless of what it is that she does, we have this conversation going back and forth, and, that to me, that there's no bigger sign that manifestation works. Hey, Becca, that journaling works, that you can ask for signs and that you can expect miracles to happen. But to me, there's no bigger evidence than that. I was like, holy shit, that's insane. Like that to me, like this woman was talking to me through this thing, and I'm like nearly tearing up. I'm like, wow, this is really big. I remember in 2018 when everything, end of 2017, everything had turned to, I chose to allow some circumstances really knock me off course for a little bit. And I remember saying again, like it was essentially praying in my way. I was like, you know what, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm supposed to be doing this work in this way, then you've got to do your bit. Yeah, I've got to do my bit, but you guys know, and I think this is the thing for you all, if you're showing up and if you're taking action and if you are doing your part, there's actually nothing wrong with asking for a little bit of universal help, right? It's like, I'm doing my thing, you do your thing. Like if this is the vehicle, then, please just kind of like grease the way for me a little bit. Right? Just grease it just a little bit, just to make it a little bit easier, because business is really hard. So, well, it's not really hard, but it can be really hard, and it can be very lonely, and it can be very disconcerting. And, particularly when you're kind of like trying to push up to that next level of you, or that next level in business, whether it's about hitting, 10 grand a month, 100 grand a month, $500,000 a month, like whatever your goals are. There's that, we've got to have faith in something, I think. And that faith can be in yourself, it can be in a higher power, it can be in Mother Nature, it can be in whatever. But I'd very strongly encourage that you, in your way, ask for the signs. Do it like an experiment. It was a really cool book that I read a few years ago called E Squared and E Cubed, which was the follow-on book by Pam Grout, P-A-M Grout, G-R-O-U-T. And she would be doing these different experiments, like shared these different experiments, and I did them with the kids actually as well. And what's really kind of fun about that is like playing Spotto with the kids. So we play Spotto all the time. So what we'll do is, as we're out walking, we'll be like, okay, so Spotto yellow car, right? So that's a competition to see how many yellow cars we can Spotto. Hey, Jess. And it's like our mind just kind of focuses on that. So when you're really focused on something, you can train your mind to look for it. So if you ask for a sign, then it's like that. What's that movie with Jim Carrey? What's the movie? Can anyone remember? I can't think of the name of it. Where he's driving along, I reckon it's got Jennifer Aniston in it as well. And he's driving along and he's asking for a sign, and there's like these big flashing signs saying like, wrong way, go back. And he's like, I just need a sign. And there's like danger and like this, that, and he's just ignoring all the signs, right? So if you ask for a sign, if you ask for something, if you put it out there that you want some external validation, then be prepared to kind of go to be aware of when it comes in. So Jess, perfect example. Like Jess and I were talking maybe a month ago, I reckon, about the ultimate job and what that would look like for her. She's like, yeah, but it doesn't exist. I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't, but maybe just get really clear on what would that look like, and how many days a week you'd want. And she's like, yeah, nah, but there's nothing like that doesn't happen in my world. I said, well, maybe it will happen. Maybe it won't. Let's see. Who knows? And I think it was just on the weekend you messaged me to say that you've been offered this job. Bruce Almighty. That's it, Beck. Thank you. Thanks, Brie. I'm like, what the hell is that movie? I love that movie. But it's like, you might not believe that you can have what you want right? You don't have to believe that you can have what you want, but you can tap into faith that it might come about. And if it's meant, in my opinion, if it's meant to be, it will happen, and those signs will come forth. And those signs will come forth, and they will show you that, hey, you know, you've got this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But it's kind of like, you know, I will ask in my journal at different times, I'm like, you know, show me the right person to learn from. You know, who should I be, like, for me, like as a mentor, for instance, you know, show me the person that I should be working with as a mentee. Show me the person who I should be learning from right now. Show me the person who is going to best support me in my growth moving forward. And then it's like when someone comes in, you've kind of then got to go, all right, it's like, I'm really hungry, and then being presented with some food and go, I don't want to eat that. Well, be really specific about what you're asking, and then let it go, and then assume that it will happen. So that's my little thing for you today. I was really quite emotional last night. I was absolutely, it amazes me and reminds me and reaffirms for me whenever this stuff happens that we don't have to be doing this on our own. That in fact there are other forces at play who are there to help, and I really do believe in magic. So ask for the signs, and then be aware of them when they come in. So that's that. The other thing I wanted to just very briefly talk to you about is the Soar Collective is open, and we do start on Monday. I am really, really excited to do the work in there. And what we're going to be doing in there is spending the next 3 months really just doing everything that we can to get you soaring. So if you've been asking for a sign, or for someone to help you, or for a community of amazing humans to surround yourself with while you embark in whatever this next phase is for you, this is like the perfect incubator for that. So if you're listening to the audio, the link is nicolamoras.com.au/soar, SOAR. If you are watching on Facebook, then the link is in the comments. You can see it just pinned in there. If you've got any questions about it, let me know. This has got to be, I think, I don't know, it's going to be so much fun. And I'm really excited to tailor it to those of you who are coming in. And we'll be doing all the magical things, as well as all of the strategical things. I think that's a new word, strategical. I don't think strategical is a word in the Oxford Dictionary. I think it should be added. Maybe somebody can create a petition for that. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, thanks, Sandy. I thought you might like that one. Do you know what really what really blew me away last night? I actually wrote in my journal, I was the answer to someone's prayers, someone's literal prayers, because she told me. I was like, I was the answer to someone's prayers. Like, that is pretty freaking, I was, and still am, obviously, pretty fucking remarkable. What a trip. Like, what an amazing, crazy, magical, wonderful sign for me. Pretty amazing. I was pretty blown away. So, you know, for your people, you will be the answer to their prayers, to their dreams, to they're asking the universe for help, you know, and for them just going like, I need someone to show up, and you all will be the answer to their prayers and what they want. But you've got to be able to be seen. Like, you've got to show up in their feed and go, hey, I'm here. I'm the answer to your prayers. As weird as that sounds, you know what I mean. So there you go. I trust that helps you. If you want to, if you've got any questions about the Soar Collective, obviously by all means hit me up, let me know. But otherwise, you know what you need to do. And that is get out there, go help some people, have a whole ton of fun doing it. Look for the signs and be good for it. And remember that the world is ready for your Brand of awesome. Have an amazing day, everybody. And if I don't talk to you before, I will speak with you tomorrow.